Thank you for having me here to talk about what peace means to me and how I became an unusual peace advocate in the context of the Israeli and Palestinian conflict. First and foremost, I would like to take a few seconds to honor the memory of all the innocent lives lost and express my empathy to all those suffering from the unbearable situation, whether they are mourning loved ones, facing violence, hunger, displacement, whether they are taken hostage or waiting for loved ones to return home. I too have lost friends and colleagues, Vivian Silver from Kibbutz Be'eri and Ayat Khadura from Beit Lahia in Gaza. Both were amazing human beings. Both were violently killed in October and November of last year. Both worked with organizations supported by B8ofHope, the nonprofit I co-founded here in Switzerland. What is peace to me? It exists in very few places on earth where violence is not the norm, where people have civil rights and stand up for each other's rights. This is one perspective of peace, and I wish it upon all the people of this planet, including those in my country of origin, Iran. Indeed, I was born in Tehran 57 years ago. My life turned upside down in 1979 when my father, a general in the Iranian Imperial Army, was executed by the new Islamic regime in place. I ended up in a boarding school in Switzerland run by Catholic nuns. Their emphasis on education, tolerance, and resilience helped me overcome my trauma and move forward with my life. My classmates came from a multitude of countries and ethnicities, each carrying their own burdens, from Haiti to Burundi, from Venezuela to Lebanon. Every student had a story of hardship. Sharing pain was our common ground, but so was educating ourselves and building a future. It was up to us to seize the incredible opportunity we had in Switzerland and turn a past of violence into a future of opportunities. My time in boarding school also taught me to empathize with my friends' sorrows and to feel positive empathy for their achievements. About empathy, which is a crucial ingredient in peace building, to both my Palestinian and Israeli friends, I want to say that their trauma resonates in me as it mirrors aspects of my own. Having lost a father at a young age in a brutal way, and being left in the dark shortly after, during the times of the Iran-Iraq war, wondering if the rest of my family was safe, as communications between Switzerland and Iran were often cut off. Peace to me is not only about the absence of conflict and respect for rights, but also about peace of mind and heart. My story as a peace advocate started with an unusual vacation back in 1977 when I was 10, during a time when Iran and Israel had good relations. Yes, we forget that that was the case back then. My father took me on a trip to Israel. He was part of a group of Iranian officials and their families meeting with Israeli counterparts. He wanted to broaden my horizon, and I have the fondest memories of that trip. Fast forward to 2014, now an adult living in Switzerland, I came across a retired Israeli general who had been a friend of my father's. He invited me to Israel, and I was warmly welcomed by him and his family. Amazingly, he also reconnected me with Yafa, the Israeli woman who had taken me sightseeing in 1977, making the trip interesting for the little girl I was back then. Not only did she remember me after all these years, but she had kept the thank you note I had written to her upon my return to Tehran. In 2014, my life turned upside down once again, but in a good way this time. This story of old friendships and the gift of reconnecting to my past was only the beginning. During that same trip, I was offered the opportunity to visit the occupied Palestinian territories in the West Bank, where I met an extraordinary Palestinian man. I was intrigued and I wanted to learn more about the Palestinians, their stories, and their daily lives. That extraordinary man was Ali Abu Awad, and he's here with us today. After hearing his story of bereavement and his journey of transformation and dedication to nonviolence and peace building, I was deeply impacted and inspired. Thanks to Ali, I also met other Palestinian and Israeli peace activists whose work was incredibly courageous and fascinating. I decided to channel all the empathy and the inspiration I felt into action, and I made it my mission to give these courageous people visibility and support in my own modest way. I co-founded the association B8ofHope in Geneva with a group of friends, including Jewish and Arab members of the respective diasporas. Today, we support over 20 initiatives that promote humanization and hope for a shared future based on the principles of mutual recognition, equal rights, safety, dignity, better living conditions, and the right to self-determination for all those living between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea. This is another perspective of peace. It has to come from the bottom up to people-to-people humanization. It also has to be supported by the international community. This perspective combines the human aspect of healing and empathy with the foundation of human rights. And I'm convinced that humanization makes human rights more sustainable. So here I am today trying to be the best ambassador I can for bold Palestinian and Israeli heroes who step out of their comfort zones to build peace in one of the most conflicted regions of the world. Because peace is the only way for them. Yet it's so controversial. Striving to build it makes you sometimes a traitor, yet it is the most patriotic thing to do. Their voices are not heard enough, and here is my message to all of you. Support them by being pro-Palestinian and pro-Israeli change makers and peace builders, rather than being just pro-Israel or pro-Palestine. In doing so, in being pro-solution, you will surely make a meaningful difference for those who you care about. Thank you.